Hey guys, this is Non-Lammers of Invoked 101. Welcome back, and today we're taking a look at the newest version of my Super Quant deck profile. This is a very heavy go second version from what I've experienced, like just playtesting and doing test hands with it. It very much does want to go second, and with that in mind, I was able to add in something pretty nice to this to kind of bump up the consistency and give this access to a very strong boss monster. Before we get into the deck profile, down in the description, there's links to our Discord, our Teespring, our Ko-fi, and our Patreon. So if you feel like supporting us in any way, down there in the description is how to do it. And with that out of the way, we're going to move the spells and trap and extra deck off to the side and get right into the main deck monsters. So the guy we're starting off with is, of course, Super Quant White Layer, the newest Super Quant monster for the main deck, being able to copy the stats and attribute by Foolish Barreling any Super Quant, and then when it's sent to the grave, it gets to search the rabbit, which is pretty awesome. Just a very good card overall. It can special summon itself, and it copies level and attribute, which is fantastic. After that, we have 3 Red Layer, which is another card that can special summon itself if you control no monsters, and then it can also, on normal or special summon, it can pick up a Super Quant out of the graveyard, and then if it's sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one Super Quanta monster or Super Quant monster, negating its effects. So that's pretty good. Then we have 3 Super Quant Green Layer. This is another card that on normal or special lets you special summon another Super Quant monster from the hand. Pretty awesome. And if it's sent to the graveyard, you can discard a Super Quant card and draw a new card. So very useful. Actually comes up quite a bit. With 3 green, I feel is correct now, especially with White Layer. We just have more targets and it just makes him all the more better. And even in this build, it makes him pretty good. This build is a little funky, which is why I say. Anyways, then we also have 3 Blue Layer, which is the Stratos of the deck, being able to search any Super Quant card out of your main deck, and then it shuffles back 3 when it's sent to the graveyard, up to 3. It is important that it does designate up to 3, which is pretty cool. Yeah, just a very good card overall. Just a nice little Stratos for the deck, 1200 attack, and it's Psychic and level 3, so it is an E-Telly target. Then we have our 1-for-1 target, which is the Bunny. And the Rabbit, what its effect is, it can either make all monsters you currently control the same level as one of your Super Quants, or it can tribute itself, reveal 3 Super Quants with different names, and then your opponent will pick one, and you special that one, and send the other 2 to the grave, which will trigger the Super Quant effects, which is pretty nice. But it triggers all 3 effects. One gets its summon effect, and the other 2 get their sent to grave effect. So it's pretty good for setup and doing graveyard stuff. Very, very good overall. That's it for the Super Quant monsters. Now for the kind of bonus engine in here, I'm playing 3 Thoroughblade and 3 Barrage. This allows you access to a lot of different things simply by giving you an extra monster on the field. Which is incredible. It's actually like super dope. You can do a pretty cool combo using this, and I'm just gonna double check something real quick. Okay, yeah, you can do a pretty cool play using these cards. It's pretty awesome. So, because how it works is basically you get Thoroughblade out, and then you summon Borbo, you slap Chakanine on top of it, you use Chakanine's effect to revive the Borbo, and then you get to link summon into, and then as long as you can turn one of your Super Quants into an Xyz monster, you can make Fortress Megaclops, which is pretty awesome. So that's what this does, and that's why this is a go second deck now more than ever, because now not only can you make Fortress Megaclops and steal an opponent's monsters to swing with a Super Quant card, you also get a 1600 piercing Chakanine. Or I guess that's gone, but you get a 4000 attack point Link monster who's unaffected by stuff, which is pretty awesome. So not only do you get like, it's good overall, it's good. It helps the deck and helps it make more monsters. So definitely an added nice thing. And then we have the hand trap slot, which is currently 3 effect veilers. This could be impermanence, could be ash, could be ogre, whatever you really want. Effect veiler is just the one that was already in the deck, so it's the one I went with. Yeah, no problems there. It could also be any other card for consistency purposes that you feel is necessary. After that, we have the spells and traps, which we're starting off with 1 terraforming and 2 the field spell. I might bump this back up to 3. I didn't feel that I kept clogging on 3, although now you kind of always want to see it. So maybe I will bump this back up to 3. I just didn't feel like 3 was worth having when there's like so many ways to get this out that that playing 3 was warranted. Then we have the Super Quant Alphen Call Appeal, which is basically whenever a Super Quant monster is destroyed by battle, you can summon a Super Quant mech from the extra deck, and then a Super Quant monster from your deck that's listed on the Xyz monster, but negates effects, which is pretty cool. And you can only activate one of these per turn, so that's kind of, you got to remember that, but it is a quick play, which is nice. After that, we play 3 Called by the Grave, because this is a go second deck now, and you don't want your combos getting erupted, you don't want anyone getting effect veilered, so 3 Called bys is a must in here. Again, because this is now kind of like a go second OTK deck, Twin Twisters to snipe to get rid of back row is also a near necessity. You can also play Cosmic Cyclone if you don't feel like playing Twin Twisters. I almost feel like Cyclone would be better, because then you don't have to discard, because a lot of this stuff does require you to discard, but because a lot of the Super Quants do get effects in the graveyard, Twin Twisters isn't a bad option. Then we have our one-ofs in the form of E-Telly to summon blue, Monster Reborn, because it's a Saki one-of. 1 for 1, another Saki one-of that summons out this for free, basically. Then we have the Alphen Spike, which is a really cool card. It says if you control 3 Super Quants with different, 3 Super Quantums with different names, return all cards your opponent controls to the main deck, then they special summon 1 card from their extra deck. So that's cool. And then you can banish this and a copy of Alphon from the graveyard to activate the field spell directly from the deck. So kind of cool, but very situational. It's mostly used for its graveyard effect. I usually like discard it off of stuff, either that be for green or for Twin Twisters, whatever way that you can get it out of your hand. Then we have the only trap card in the deck and the last card in the main deck, which is Super Quant Mech Sword Magnus Layer. This card is another OTK card. Basically, you on activation, you equip it to a Super Quant Xyz monster you control, and then it gains 100 attack times its rank, and then you can, during the battle phase, you can send this to your graveyard, and that monster can attack 3 times. So that's pretty cool. So basically what happens is you attack once with the big stat, and then you send it to the graveyard and it can attack 2 more times. So that's pretty cool. That's also it for the main deck. I believe it is 40, so pretty solid. Definitely these are something that I've wanted to add to the deck for a little while. It was more so I just didn't have the barrages or the Thoroughblades, and I got some bulk from a guy, and it happened to have 4 barrages and 3 Thoroughblades, so ended up working out. With that said, moving into the extra deck, we of course have 1 Great Magnus. You can't play Super Quants without the 1, because the field spell does summon it, and it's literally like one of the best win cons of any deck, and it only gets better when the Bujin Xyz is released, and it only gets better in Master Rule 4.5 or Master Rule 2020, whatever you want to call it. This card only gets better, as does this entire deck, which I will be doing a Super Quant update around that time that doesn't use link monsters, because this deck doesn't really want to use link monsters, so I'll be doing an update around then. Then we only have 1 blue, because I found myself not really making 2 blue, and because you don't really want to summon you don't want this to be the one you summon off of Fortress Megaclops. I felt 1 was just fine. Same thing goes for Ouroboros. It's kind of small with only 2200 attack, and it's a Book of Moon, which isn't necessarily bad, but again, it isn't necessarily the one you want to be summoning off of Fortress Megaclops. Then 2 red, but you can honestly probably play 1 if you really want to. Like, you can honestly play all 4 of these guys at 1 and be fine. Realistically, all 5, but Yeah, 2 of this because it actually is one of the beefier ones with 26, and it does pop a card, so that's very nice again for the OTK strategy. Because what you can do is you can pop a card, you can summon this, pop a card, link it away into Megaclops, and then summon it back with Megaclops in attack position and swing with it after stealing that opponent's monster. It's pretty awesome. Then we have the newest member of the Super Quant mechs, Luster Rex, the dinosaur, the Effect Veiler of the group. This is one of the other ones that's really good for summoning off of Megaclops, and honestly the one I go into probably the most, although realistically this should be at 1 and this one should be at 2, just because like you almost never leave the 7 on board. You almost always change his level, especially now to the red one, because the red one summons back 1 from the grave. So and that's it for the Super Quant Xyz monsters. Moving into the Zoodiac ones, I play 1 Chakanine and 1 Borbo. This is basically just to go Borbo. Borbo because you can swing directly in time. If you go second in time, you can swing with this in your battle phase directly, so that's why. And then Chakanine, so how Chakanine works is you detach then target, so you detach then target the Borbo in your graveyard and special summon it, and there's 2 Xyz monsters for Fortress Megaclops right there. So that's why we play these 2, just for that interaction right there. That's it for the Xyz monsters. For links, I play this. You can also play Lanphalinkus and or Lambda instead of this. This is just happens to be the one that I had that was slightly bigger than Lanphalinkus, and that's really the only reason I'm playing this. I don't have Lambda, and it's bigger than Lanphalinkus. Then we're playing 2 of the Super Quant Link. This guy's really good. It's mostly made for going into like just doing pure Super Quant plays, because this is a regular Super Quant deck. It just happens to have the ability to make Fortress Megaclops using the Zoo engine. So if you want to make this instead of Megaclops and you want to do Super Quant things, this allows you to do Super Quant things. So there you go. And the card I've been talking about constantly is Fortress Megaclops. Some of you guys haven't seen this card. This is actually an Infinitrack card, oddly enough. It's a Link 3 with 4,000 attack, and it requires 3 Xyz monsters as a material, and it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect. It's unaffected by monster effects except of Xyz monsters, and it cannot be destroyed by battle except with an Xyz monster. So it says you can target 1 Xyz monster in your graveyard and 1 card your opponent controls, special summon that monster from your graveyard, and if you do, attach that opponent's card to it as material. Also, for the rest of this turn, any damage your opponent takes is halved. You can only use this effect of Megaclops once per turn. So it does half the damage your opponent takes, but still, you can still pump out a lot of damage with this. Then we also have Borreload, because it's Borreload and you can make it, you don't have to play this, it just gets over stuff. And then 1 Saryuja, because this deck can make Saryuja. It's a little difficult for it to do it now without Brilliant Fusion, as if you guys ever saw my really old Super Quant video, you guys would have known I was playing Brilliant Fusion to summon Saryuja, and this was like a Saryuja turbo deck. But yeah, and that's it for the extra deck. It's really cool playing Super Quants again, because the deck itself is so versatile and flexible with the things it can play, that figuring out stuff for it is really fun when done correctly. You just got to put some time into, like when I saw Zoo Time Thief, I was like, okay, I need to work Zoo into Super Quant somehow. I know I can do it, I just don't know how I'm going to accomplish that. So finally figuring out like, oh yeah, let's make Megaclops with this deck and see what happens is pretty awesome in my opinion. So I like this deck a lot. I hope you guys liked this deck as well. And let me know what you guys thought about this in the comments below. And while you're down there, feel free to check out the description. Again, down there is our Discord, our Teespring, our Patreon, and our Ko-fi link. So if you feel like supporting us in any way, that's where to do it. And with that said, I will see you guys in the next video.